Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Straight Talk for the Soul series. Welcome to our Season 6 launch party. Are you guys ready for this? Oh my gosh, I certainly am. And I love our new intro song. I felt it was very appropriate because in this community, you never have to walk alone. And together we join heart to heart, hand in hand, and that's what it's all about. So hold my hand. Let's begin yet another amazing, empowering, exciting adventure together. It is such a joy to be back here with all of you for a brand new season. What better way to begin than with beautiful Kaia Ra as my co-creative partner to get this year and this season kicked off in the most incredible way. I want to extend a bright and a beautiful good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you tuning in from all corners of the world from what I can see. Welcome to our global listening family. It's an honor to welcome back all of my loyal listeners from our previous seasons, and it's a privilege to welcome all of our brand new listeners. This is really a sacred space for you to relax and to really feel safe and supported by a compassionate, loving community that wants to see you lead with your soul and thrive in every way and shine your light in the ways that you intended to shine. By the way, I'm Carrie Murphy, your host and the creator of this series. And as many of you know, since my near-death experience in 1997, I've been on a highly inspired mission to be of divine service on this planet. Many of you have read my books or attended the workshops or speaking events and listened to the radio show, The Carrie Murphy Show, since 2010. This series is unique. It is so different from anything else that I've done, and it's essential because I get to play and share space with some of the most progressive, loving, just incredible spiritual teachers and healers and awakeners on our planet today, including my amazing partner for today, Kaia Ra. If you're here, it's likely that you are ready to quench your thirst, the thirst of your soul, as it calls you to gatherings and communities like this to support you in remembering your divine nature and the refinement just for the refinement of your consciousness. That's what this is all about. So consider our time together a soothing balm for your soul, to transmute any elements in your consciousness into the purity of the light that you are, because this is the new frontier, and we are here to be the change agents. We're here to dismantle, disengage, unravel all the false ideas about us so that we ignite our true light, the light of remembrance. So I want to honor you and thank you for your presence and for being here, for contributing your light to the expansion of this community. Please continue to share news of this series to anyone that you feel would benefit from all the light and the love and the joy and the information that is shared here. Now, today our topic is flexing your diamond light with the support that you deserve. We're talking about divine, feminine, Christ leadership and why your unique voice is needed more than ever. Today with Kaia Ra, we're going to discuss how it's not about being perfect, but it's about being perfectly you. Why it's essential for you to offer your channeled, intuitively resourced wisdom through your unique voice in 2018. How self-care is your savior in leadership. How to embody a teaching example of invincible self-love while we're navigating the expectations, the projections, and judgments of our clients and our community and even ourselves. We'll talk about how to become amazing at speaking your truth, how to develop an immunity to both praise and judgment, why your success means more to the world than just what it means for you, and why being seen is really worth the risk. I also want to highlight today, we're going to talk about why you don't have to know everything to lead. And we'll talk about identifying and navigating your multidimensional soul contracts with the clients and communities that you serve, and why divine feminine Christ leadership is the most authentic and at times the toughest job that you'll ever love, and why living with this continuous calling to serve is the ultimate healing for your soul. This is going to be a really powerful show, you guys. So let me tell you about Kaia, and then we're going to get started. Kaia Ra is a world-renowned ordained oracle for an ascended master high council called the Sophia Dragon Tribe. She's also the international best-selling author of the Sophia Code book series. She is a divine feminine teacher, a speaker, a ceremonialist, a medicine woman, minister, and community leader teaching the Sophia Code curriculum worldwide. The Sophia Code is a sacred text that provides Kaia's direct revelations on the mysteries of Sophia, including a divine feminine Christ blueprint for activating humanity's sovereign divinity and birthing a new golden age of miracles. Kaia Ra has served an international clientele and facilitated workshops in Sophia Christ consciousness for well over a decade. She expanded beyond her private practice to begin publicly channeling and performing live ceremonies for audiences across the Western United States in 2008. She has produced live events that have connected thousands of people to the DNA activations, the teachings of the ancestors, the archangels, the ascended masters, and the star nations. Her live ceremonial events, speaking engagements, media appearances, and online broadcasts are hailed as the next generation of revolutionary spiritual leadership. Kaia is a highly respected, leading-edge voice pioneering a worldwide movement for the sovereign divinity of humanity and the return of divine feminine Christ consciousness. I am so thrilled to share space once again with this incredibly beautiful soul. So please join me in extending waves and waves of love and light and appreciation to Kaia Ra as I welcome her back to the show. Kaia, welcome.
Oh, Carrie, it's so good to be back. Thank you so much for such a warm welcome. I'm so happy to be here today. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so happy that you are with me on our season launch. It just worked out perfectly.
It really did, and congratulations on your new season. I just feel what a blessing this platform is for the world and all of the beautiful light workers that you're supporting and their evolution and in their courage to stand up in their own leadership and their own divine offering, whether it's divine feminine or masculine or genderless offering. It's just such a beautiful platform to be here a part of today. Thank you, Carrie.
Well, I want to shine the light of love on everything you're doing because what you're doing is incredible. And, you know, we have so many people on the line, Kai. I think we're about full here, which is exciting.
Wonderful.
It means everybody is ready for this.
Oh, great.
Yeah, isn't that awesome? Let's start with, you know, I think most people here are probably familiar with you, but for Kaia, there may be some people that are new to you and your work. So I'd love for you to describe a little bit about your journey that's led to this, you know, the devotion of your sharing of, you know, the mysteries of Sophia, as well as the incredible insights and information on divine feminine Christ leadership. So let's talk a little bit about how this unfolded for you, and then we'll go deeper.
Yeah, well, okay, I will do my best.
I know, and you're like, how should I
brief? Because when I think about where did my service begin, I have to go all the way back to pretty much the beginning of my life. Yeah. So I'll try to do this in a really good and simplified way. So
I know it's a big
question. As many people know from reading the preface of the introductory volume to the Sophia Code series, I had a very the first 18 years of my life, I survived a world of atrocities that were systemic and unending, and so from about the age of 3 on, I have conscious memories of interfacing with beings of light, such as the archangels, guardian angels, and the ascended masters, who were assisting my survival from the other side of the physical veil and coaching me in how to, mentoring me, loving me, supporting me, and how to stay connected to the innocence of my heart, the purity of my divinity, the purity of my soul, while surviving unspeakable atrocities of rape and systemic rape and military torture. So it was this really incredible journey for the first 18 years of my life, where I lived more on the other side of reality to survive in the company of these extraordinary beings of light, while my body, survived here in this physical reality, and multiple, not even what I would call near-death experiences, but experiences of actually dying from these torturous acts, and then being sent back by the light of Sophia, being sent back by the Ascended Masters again and again, saying, you will survive this, and because you have survived this, like the amount of people that you're going to reach is going to be unlimited to you. So in essence, what happened is I plunged into every dimensional reality of hell for the first half of my life, so that I could, in the second half of my life, touch into every dimensional reality of heaven, and be that living bridge for people to touch those realms of heaven that may have felt inaccessible because for whatever reasons, but because of what I experienced, all of my boundaries to the other realms were just blown to bits. So for most of my life, it was almost impossible to be to feel really comfortable being human. And it was not just with the trauma, but just because of how psychically open I was. I mean, it took years and years and years of training directly with the Ascended Masters, because after I escaped my situation, it was like I had to then put myself back together. So the journey of putting myself back together was deeply assisted by the archangels and the Ascended Masters, and I had a really extraordinary private practice starting from I had a massive Kundalini awakening at the age 25, and then began my private practice shortly thereafter, and was in service to all kinds. It had a very thriving private practice, but right at the height of that private practice, and I was guided to move to California. And I thought for sure that, well, once I get there, my practice will just continue to thrive. But a major shift happened where I was being called into public service as a channel and as an oracle. And it was, it's one thing to channel privately for somebody, with closed doors. It's another thing to do it on stage in front of a couple hundred people, and then eventually 1,000 people, and then got bigger, and it was just like, oh, okay. Talk about, initiation by fire. And in that, and after about 2 years of that, I was guided to move to Mount Shasta, California, which, as anyone who follows my work knows, I consider Mount Shasta one of the holiest vortexes on the planet. And you want to get to know the Ascended Masters or kickstart that process, spend some time in Mount Shasta, drinking the water there, spending time with the mountain. And when I was there, I had this, I rented this big Tahoe-style home. I had the Ascended Master said, we want you to go and write a book. Go rent a house, write a book. I was like, okay. All right, I'm not ready for this, but okay. So I just thought, I just took my marching orders and followed through. And I knew that my resistances to the creative process would be big, and I knew intuitively that I would need to be very organized, like a very chop wood, carry water approach to showing up to the writing every day at the same time. So I had this incredible schedule. I turned off my phone for 2 months, didn't talk to anybody, had this amazing focused schedule. And about halfway through that schedule, I thought I was writing one book. I go to the same moment that I always go to write work on this book, and there was wonderful information coming through, and it was coming through about how to heal rape consciousness in humanity's collective mind. And it was really intense material, and what I was discovering was everything pouring through me was actually healing me in real time. I mean, as excruciating as it was how it was guiding me to touch into the deepest wounds of my psyche and my physical and emotional body by channeling the medicine that not only that I needed, but humanity needed.
Yes.
And so in this, we receive the first principle, one of the first principles of divine feminine Christ leadership. We often think we have to know a bunch of stuff to go out there and be a leader and teach. And the reality is your own healing is the embodiment. It is the wisdom. It is the teaching. What wants to come through you to heal you is what's here to come through you to assist and support, mentor, guide, or teach others.
Absolutely.
So you don't have to,
yes.
Yeah, you don't have to make anything up. You just have to be willing to do your own journey, to embody your higher self, to, fall in love with your own ego structure, get over the idea that you're ever going to kill it, because you're never going to kill it, make friends with it, make allies with it.
Yeah, don't wait for that to lead, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and so, and that's the space of self-love, self-care that we actually have, that we resources in ourselves, that the divine feminine offering arises from. Okay, so here I am in that moment, sitting down after dinner, back into my writing schedule, and this beautiful home in Mount Shasta, and all of a sudden, I go into a full-blown mystical communion. And I've been professionally channeling for years, so I'd had some incredible experiences throughout my life, but it was nothing like this. There was nothing that could have prepared me for it, and the walls started vibrating. I thought the house was going to explode, and then all of a sudden I just saw the walls just turn into molecules, and then everything about the house, which is a very large, sturdy Tahoe-style home on the side of a mountain, was gone. And everything, the furniture, the whole house went into the light, and there I was sitting in the light. The only physical thing I could see was my computer sitting on my lap. And I got the sense that I was like, you better start typing or you're not going to believe this when it's over, that it actually happened.
Exactly.
So you're going to record what's about to happen. And this booming voice came through the light, and she said that her name was Sophia, and that she was the divine mother creatrix of all life. And was I listening to her? And I mean, it was so loud. It was like, I felt like losing the wind. I mean, I was like, oh my God, and I had direct experiences with the source through my death experiences, but this was so feminine and so, like, the voice, I just never connected or heard the voice of source in this way. And usually it was like my experiences were go into the light and then greeted by these beings, ascended masters, which they're not God. They're, we're all a part of God, but it's not talking directly to the source. This was the source, getting my attention. And the source wanted me to call it
Sophia.
Sophia. And for me at that time, I was so disconnected actually from the divine feminine, because I was terrified of the divine feminine. Because if I were to rest in my femininity, psychologically, I was still healing the idea that if I were to be in my femininity, that possibly I would be harmed, raped, or taken advantage of again. So there was this unconscious script running in my relationship with the divine that I had to interface primarily with more of a masculine energy to feel protected. But when this source energy showed up with the voice of the Divine Mother, there was nothing more powerful in all of creation that could have been staring me down in the face.
Did it scare you, Kaia, in that moment, or were you comforted, or how did you feel?
It was both. I mean, I think people think of the presence of God as something that is containable, that they can fit in that they want to fit in a box that's just like all super soft and peaceful, and it's all of those things, but it's all of the other things too. It's the lightning, it's the thunder. It's just like when we read about the prophets in the Bible, they had thunderous experiences in the direct presence of the source. Usually those direct experiences that are thunderous, it involves the lightning and thunder that breaks through your ego structures and resistances to having direct communion with God. God will do whatever it takes to get your attention in the most loving way. So in this experience, there was this reckoning of, hey, I am the divine feminine, and there's nothing more powerful for you to interface with in this lifetime. Are you listening to me? And my hair was blown back, and I was like, whoa, yeah, I had no idea you were this powerful. I am listening. And, where are we at with negotiations? Can you turn down the lights a little bit? Can you turn down the volume a little bit? And the immediate response was, oh, I have your attention? Absolutely, yes. How about this more golden hue white light? How about the volume comes down a little bit? And from that space, I was like, yeah, I really am in the presence of God. This is absolute, this consciousness that's calling itself Sophia absolutely wants everything that I want, but she wants to make sure I'm in direct communion with her, because that's the essential first piece. So sometimes when we have direct communion, it's a little shocking for our ego structure because it's so outside of our daily paradigm. However, in this age of miracles, we need to be shooken up a little bit. That's what we're here to do. We're here to activate humanity into its multidimensional awareness, not a linear awareness, not a fit in the box awareness, an omniscient awareness that is an aspect of your divine nature, having a human experience. You can have the 1,000 eyes of grandmother spider activated in your crown chakra. That's what all the saints and all the masters eventually attained, is this understanding of like, oh man, there's no way I can control this source consciousness. There's a divine will. There's a perfect omniscient will of unconditional love and omniscient vision that knows what's best for me and everybody else. And I'm going to attune myself to this voice, to this omniscient vision, to this perfect divine will. And I want to be the holy chalice for this energy, for this light, for this love. And so what happens when you make those kind of prayers is you're saying, use me, Lord. Use me, Sophia God. Use me, Holy Mother, Holy Father, Buddha, light, whatever you want to call source energy. All names of God are welcome in this Sophia Code container. Just call that source home. When we talk about divine feminine Christ leadership, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about Christ consciousness is source consciousness having a human experience. Yes. So it's the highest consciousness of source that we can attune to within our human experience and to move from and to embody. So in that experience with Sophia, once she and I had this dialogue where she asked me some questions about, she talked to me about sovereign divinity. I was like, Lady God, I've never even considered sovereign divinity. You want me to talk about what? Sovereignty and divinity. Okay. And she said, I have a love letter for humanity, that humanity, that's going to be a blueprint for humanity to not only remember, but activate and embody their sovereign divinity. And I want you to write this love letter. And I'd also like for you to meet this Ascended Master High Council. And I thought, okay. And then all of a sudden, thousands upon thousands of Ascended Masters I was standing in the presence of within the light. And they were, many of them were recognizable figures from this planet, but they were from across the cosmos, because there's so many other star systems and planetary systems where the same journey of ascension happens as well. And I had been channeling individual masters or orders of angels for years, but I knew I was in the presence of something so pure and so powerful that anything I had done up until that point was just paled in comparison. And I knew in that moment that I had to dedicate my entire life to working with this high council, because there was nowhere else to go from there, for me personally. And so they invited me they ordained me in the ceremony that I experienced supposedly in my living room. I don't know, because the living room wasn't there, where they did this, ascension ritual over me, where they ordained me as the oracle of the Sophia Dragon Tribe. They asked me to call them the Sophia Dragon Tribe. I rolled my eyes into the back of my head. I thought to myself, oh my God, this is going to kill my career. Who's going to listen to the lady?
Are you sure that's what you want to name it? Yeah.
Yeah, okay, this is cool and all, but people are going to think this is crazy. And what's so amazing is, years later, how many people have embraced it as their tribe, their community. And I'm just so grateful that the light was so big in that over the top mystical experience that there was no way for me to say no. It surpassed all of my ego structures and traumatic resistances to stepping into that kind of responsibility and consecration at such an early age. So after that point, I said, don't call me, I'll call you. I got to go get ready for this. And I took some time getting into just really getting physically fit and you know, getting really, really clear about how I was eating, what I was doing with my life, and where I was going to live. And I, you know, just really trained my body, heart, and mind, but I wasn't ready to work with them. It took me a couple of years to let anybody know what had happened to me. And then a certain series of events came about, and I was moved to a direct place where I was supposed to start channeling the codex. And it took me about 7 years I spent a good part of my 30s in seclusion, listening solely to the Ascended Masters to ensure hardly reading anybody else's work, just completely, absolutely like a laser focused on my own healing and strengthening of myself, body, heart, and mind. I'm just constant, sometimes up to 14 to 16 hours a day, just channeling, sitting in meditation, writing, rewriting, integrating their massive downloads. And
wow.
And then we, you know, started to release the initiations, which was so beautiful because so there's 8 major initiations in the codex, these preliminary initiations for activating what we call the divine genome, the crystalline chromosomes that every single human being on this planet has within them that interfaces with their biological DNA. These 8 initiations, as given to us in the sacred text of the Sophia Code, literally flip on all the switches of your divine genome, which has to be consciously activated with your voice out loud. That's why these initiations were written in the first person, so that anybody could initiate themselves directly with the Ascended Masters. I'm not here to be anybody's guru. That just makes my stomach turn. This codex is a manual for self-initiation. This is a manual. Yeah.
We're including that. I mean, that's just a bonus, I believe, in the package is these initiations.
Yes,
yeah, and they're really powerful because when you were here last time, I mean, I can't tell you the number of people that we heard from. Well, and you know, I mean, all of the people who are in your community as well. I mean, this is life-changing stuff. So that's just all of the initiations that Kaia is speaking of are a bonus that she's offering in her package. So I just wanted to throw that in there as you were talking about that.
I love that. Thanks, Carrie. Yeah, I decided to put them into this package as a bonus because what we got to see over the course of this year, this was such an exciting year in the 2017 curriculum, which is now known as the Sophia Code Foundational Curriculum. We got to see how people doing those 8 initiations really prepared them for the incredible journey that they went on by entering into this modern day mystery school. This is a genuine mystery school, multidimensional mystery school. It's not some like new age idea of a mystery school or a wannabe mystery school. This is a real mystery school. It's
kind of describe that a little bit more so people really understand what you mean.
Yeah, thank you, Carrie. So we talk about this in Chapter 4 and Chapter 5 in the Section 1 of the Sophia Code, where what happened in this agreement that I made with the Ascended Masters of the Sophia Dragon Tribe is they said, look, whoever works with these initiations and the sacred text, we're making an agreement with you that those people who choose to bring the sacred text into their life, really take it seriously and work with it, we promise to show up and mentor them the way we're mentoring you. And it really, this is totally next level because let me tell you, Ascended Masters are really busy. Like super busy. Usually when you work with beings at this level, they're popping in and out of your reality, checking up on you if you have a relationship with one of them. But the agreement to actually what happens in the Sophia Code, because it's encoded based on the blueprints of awakening that I went through, which were I was being directly taught and guided of how to create any home that I lived in as a temple space where the Ascended Masters were actually living with me, mentoring me, guiding me 24 hours a day. Mm-hmm. That was a real thing. Like, I just walked around my house Hathor walks right through my walls. You know, Mother Mary, she's always here. It's an on thing. There's no off switch. Mm-hmm. And that's what we do in the Sophia Code. We set up altar spaces, both in our hearts, our minds, and physically, that become stargate doorways for the Ascended Masters to be working with you day and night. Now, the reason for that is because what I discovered in my own awakening journey with the Sophia Code coming through me was how many resistances I had to my own divinity. Mm-hmm. I actually needed constant mentorship to keep going. First, it was to keep going into embodying my divinity. Then it was to keep going to birthing this legacy of the Sophia Code. Now it's to keep going as an international leader and teacher. Let's be clear. The resistances don't end because we're always being called into the next biggest version of ourselves. I haven't found any guides in all of the spirit realm, and I have access to any realm that I want to because of how many times I died. It's like I can go anywhere. I haven't found anybody other than these Ascended Masters that are more powerful as mentors in continuing to walk what we call walk the way, to stay on the path of embodying your higher self and to show up. It takes tenacity. It takes willpower. Yes. It takes passion. It takes health. It takes, it really, as I was sharing last week in the curriculum, it requires, leadership is a constant yes. It's a moment by moment yes. Embodying your higher self, it's a moment by moment negotiation. It's a moment by moment choice to continue to show up to your yeses. So what's happening with the modern day mystery school curriculum of the Sophia Code is when you start doing those initiations, every single one of those initiations is an invitation for you to mentor directly for the rest of your life with that Ascended Master. That's what's happening. And from that moment forward, your life is never going to be the same because I got to tell you, if Isis is hanging around you day in and day out, there's no way that book isn't going to get written. There's no way that you're not going to start that business. There's no way that you're not going to get the heal up the trauma in your life so that you can get on with your divine feminine empowerment.
Yes.
Just a
Thank
fire
you for saying that.
You know what?
I'm glad you Kaia, when what you're sharing is the practical reasons why someone would want to do this, because most of the people in this community, we're speaking the same language, right? We all understand this. But if someone's just being introduced to all of this and they're wondering, well, why would I want to work with the Ascended Masters on a daily basis? Or why would I want to do these initiations? Why would it help me in my physical journey in life? And what you just said is it's going to support you in fulfilling your mission here, whatever it is, in writing, speaking, sharing your light, and in your own healing. So, because I want to specify, why this is important. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. There's, for me at this point in my life, and even when I started the codex, what channeling the codex, what became very, very clear to me is how is this going to actually, what I did for those 7 years is I test drove how these Sophia Christ consciousness energies and mentoring with these Ascended Masters could actually assist, support, and guide me in changing all aspects of my life.
Yes.
Because I knew that I had so much to do in this lifetime that if these energies weren't actually working on me, I couldn't get behind it. Like everything in my life is devoted to the Sophia Code because I can see what can happen by working with the Sophia Code. I've accomplished more in 2 years, over the past 2 years of this release, launch, and movement than most people have, accomplished in their life. And we're just getting started. I mean, we just finally became a recognized entity in the state of Arizona for the Sophia Code Foundation, which we're going to share more about over the course of this year. We're launching this next year's curriculum. We're about to launch the next book on the elegant equation of divine feminine Christ leadership. We've built our team up this year. It's like, I don't even know how that's possible other than the fact that I know it's not my humanity. It's my humanity showing up to my divinity in communion with Ascended Masters who are really, really committed to making things happen on the earth plane. Mm-hmm. And this is why I choose to work with Ascended Masters is they lived, breathed, sweated, cried, laughed, gave birth, went through all of the pain and grief and joys of being human and really moved and changed their reality in such a way that we couldn't have better mentors in how to show up to our own destiny and our own divine purpose in the same way. You know, it's like, you want to succeed? We're still hanging out with Mother Mary and talking about her all over the world. She's one of the most popular ladies on the planet. It's like, how many altars are built to Mother Mary around the world? I mean, it's because her legacy of love continues on. She didn't waste a moment of her life. You know, same with Isis. She changed the entire cosmos of her civilization at that time. And so when we look at, you know, who do we want as our heroes? We want the best. But let's be clear. You start calling in the best and the best as your mentor, guides, and teachers. You know, no sleep till Brooklyn, as the Beastie Boys would say. You're going to be busy all of the, you know, you're gonna be invited very strongly into your greatest potential, and not just potential, but the actualization of your greatest potential on the earth plane. And that's in your relationships, that's in your business, that's in your career, that's in your finances, it's in your body and your health. Eventually, every aspect of your reality has to get into alignment with your ascension. And I mean, the life that I lived, the focus, the dedication, the health, the abundance, my success, all of it, I know is because I'm mentoring with these beings every day at my altars, in my home, in my offices, in my temple spaces. It's like, I knew how many times I would want to give up and throw in the towel and run away and run back to that cave. I knew how hard it was going to be to get on shows like this or in front of cameras or meet with communities or clients around the world. I knew how many times I would want to just pick something else. And so these mentors keep me accountable to, and not to mention, when you're really involved in your divine purpose, there's so many things you don't know how to do that you've got to go out there and learn how to do. And your ego structure is, you know, doesn't want to learn new things. It wants everything to be easy all the time. It doesn't want the challenging growth curves that, you know, are required to learn how to, whether interface with the people who are experts in their field to help you in your field, or for you to even, you know, learn about different areas that can help improve your business or how you're going to make your divine feminine operate. It's like, it's constantly asking yourself to be vulnerable, to be humble, and to be powerful and clear all of the time. One word that can sum that up is called sobriety. It's getting really sober to how much there is to do here, what a great privilege and opportunity that is, and getting really sober to the commitment that it takes to make all of those beautiful dreams that are in your heart, speaking to you from your heart, to actually happen on the earth plane.
Yes,
you know?
And this isn't about escaping our humanity. The beautiful thing about everything that you share and that we're highlighting today is this is supporting us in optimizing why we're here and optimizing the journey while we're here. And, you know, because so often I think people think it's about escaping humanity, you know, ascension, but it's really about optimizing, you know, our time here and having the support of all of these divine beings is really helpful. Isn't that an understatement? But it's,
so I love that you said that, because if you look at the journey of ascension, you don't actually get to ascend until you fully 1,000% commit to being the greatest version of your humanity that you could ever be in any lifetime. Can we make that association finally in the collective consciousness of humanity? None of these beings ascended until they kicked some serious, incredible ass here on the earth plane. They got so deeply into their humanity that they became living gods on earth. They were creating and birthing and tending and nurturing and gestating, you know, entire civilizations or communities or movements. They just completely forgot about going anywhere other than the present moment. They were so deeply, absolutely in love with their divine feminine or divine masculine Christ service and offering. They became so immersed in it that there was no time. There was nowhere else to be, because the truth is, when you begin to embody your higher self, which is the same thing as saying when you begin to embody that much of your higher self divinity in human form, that source reality becomes your inner reality and eventually your outer reality in your embodiment and your leadership. And
Absolutely.
you just don't have any, that's the heaven on earth. And you're so immersed and so consecrated to that consciousness that there's nothing, it's the greatest game that you could ever play. But you have to get through sometimes years of your ego structure's resistances to experiencing that level of success and greatness, where you step into the game of life in such a way that there isn't, I'm finally at a place where there isn't any other place in the universe that I want to be right now except for right here. It's taken most of my life to get here. But right now, the Creatrix energy flowing through me with so much is being created for the Sophia Code movement and for our modern day mystery school, for the nonprofit. It's like, oh my God, where else would I want to be? This is so incredibly exciting. But if you asked me this like 2 years ago,
I hear it
like,
though. Yeah, I hear it in
like,
your voice.
take me up on the
excitement.
spaceship, let's go. You know, like, I didn't want to be here. I was just, you know, but you have to get to that place where you're so, where you've allowed what wants to come through you long enough that it becomes it actually feeds you. The invitation starts to feed you. It's that what's coming through you is healing you up so much. This is why channeling work, this is why Divine Feminine Christ service is so powerful, because that light of Sophia God, which is your Christ itself, coming through you heals you up so much, like in a figure eight pattern with your own heart, that all of a sudden everything starts to shift and you become so immersed in your own divinity, experiencing how your divinity is healing yourself and everyone else, or empowering yourself and everyone else, that everything that you thought was your idea of reality begins to fade away. And everything that you're really here to be doing starts to unpack and unfold directly from your heart, which is a return to your original innocence.
Yeah, and Kaia, let's talk about that. Yes, it is. And, you know, it's so beautiful about you. You have become lighter and more playful and joyful over the time that it's pretty phenomenal to witness and feel. And what I really want to inspire our listeners to do is to feel that as well. Because, you know, I want to talk about how important it is right now that each of our beautiful listeners in this community, especially people who are listening to a show like this, why it's essential for them to offer their own wisdom, their own intuitive channeled wisdom or guidance, you know, their own unique voice, to really activate that and, you know, have the confidence to share that as we move into this amazing new year. So can we talk about that and talk about, you know, one of the highlights is realizing that it's not about being perfect, but about being perfectly, uniquely yourself. And I really want to touch on some of this, because it's not just important for someone like yourself or the speakers on the show or myself to feel confident in sharing our voice, but in every person who's listening, because they're so significant and their role is so powerful.
So beautiful. Thank you, Carrie, for that. Okay, so let's just reiterate what we just said to start out this conversation, which is, when you allow what wants to come through your heart and through your voice to come through, that is your own, you are making medicine on yourself. Your own, the wisdom that's coming through you is for you first. And that is like the number one rule of Divine Feminine Christ leadership, or making a Divine Feminine Christ offering, is that what we have to give is how we are being intuitively guided to heal and empower ourselves first. Okay? And in that journey of receiving enough of our own self-resourced, I don't know if that's the right word in this particular sentence, that what we receive in our communion with the source for ourselves wants to take us on a journey. What's so fascinating about divinity is that it is so playful, and it does know the most accelerated pathway to get you out of your attachments to suffering and get you into the joyous game of life.
Yes.
But usually if you have a really big prayer to get into that joyous game of life, you got to be willing to let divinity, lop off that illusion or that attachment to suffering as quickly as possible. And so people tend to associate their journey of spirituality with a lot of pain and suffering because they're prolonging like that Kali Ma energy that just wants to wipe it out for you so you can get on with the good stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a really interesting journey. So if you can have the compassion, we talk a lot about this, the compassion, the self-compassion, the self-love, the presencing with yourself, what you'll find is you do survive your own awakening, number one. And in that journey, you excavate all the pearls of your soul that become pearls of wisdom for others if those people are asking to receive those pearls from you. Because we don't throw our pearls around. It's just like what Jesus said in the Bible, don't throw your pearls at swine, which was a metaphor for saying don't try to convince anybody about your wisdom. Mm-hmm. Offer your wisdom to those people that actually want it, right? And in that journey, what happens is the more you download this wisdom for yourself, which then also becomes, by default, a gift to others, that wisdom is not going to let you stay at one place for very long. It wants to take you on an adventure. Yeah. It wants to take you to the playgrounds of consciousness that are going to nurture and grow you and dare you into your most radical, playful, joyful, loving, empowered, centered self. And all of those, that list sounds so exciting, but the truth is, as a collective, humanity's collective consciousness is actually addicted to suffering, pain, struggle, poverty, right? Mm-hmm. So as we're being dared by our own divinity to step into this joyful, playful, abundant space, one of the greatest divine feminine leadership offerings that you can make in 2018 is the decision and the choice that you're going to choose your own happiness first this year. You're going to choose this this is part of how you're empowering humanity to get over itself, to get over its extreme addiction to suffering and impoverished thinking. Mm-hmm. So the more playful, the more joyful, the more radically loving of yourself that you can be, you're like literally setting off minefields of joy wherever you go. That's yeah,
I love that phrase.
It's really an incredible phenomenon. I was in an airport a couple of weeks ago, and the Ascended Masters were like, "Hey, just smile at everybody. Just don't even worry about it. Just smile at every single person you walk by." And it was staggering how many people were afraid to smile back, or were looking at me shocked, like, "Wait, me? Why are you smiling at me? Is
what is wrong with you? Why are you smiling?"
Yeah, what's wrong with you being a happy person? And then there were those few people. I'll never forget this one woman's face as she was passing by. It was as though for 3 seconds we were locked into the communion of Sophia God as she was smiling at me and I was smiling at her. Just two strangers passing in an airport. God only knows what kind of an atom bomb of light went off in that airport in just 3 seconds of us smiling at each other. Mm-hmm. And so that's what we are pioneering in 2018. We're leading from what we call in the Sophia Code the beauty way, where everything that we're here to offer, every way that we're here to serve, is simply an act of beauty. It's an act of love. It's an act of joy. It's a commitment to our individual and personal happiness. We're not here to enslave ourselves to some suffering, dogmatic journey to get to somewhere heavenly. We're choosing to be the heaven wherever we go. That is Sophia Christ consciousness. To all of our daily acts and interfacing with our children, our partners, our immediate circles of community, families, and friends. And what's going to happen is that joy is so curious, that happiness, that touching into the light, it starts to bring up questions like, well, now what? And now where? And now how? You don't have to worry about that. If you just get used to what it feels like to lead through your daily acts of living through love, through joy, through diplomacy, through harmony, by holding on to that light within you and never looking away, as Green Tara says in her chapter, enlightenment is simply, she says, enlightenment is the choice to simply look into the light of your own soul and never look away again. You know, if that is your daily practice, divinity is going to show up at your door so fast and give you your next steps. I promise. I promise. And usually, you know, everybody wonders, well, if I'm going to step into leadership, I guess I'm going to have to know everything about how I'm going to lead. Not true. Not even close to true. And nobody could have told me that I was going to end up leading the Sophia Dragon Tribe and writing the Sophia Code. And I was crazy psychic. It was masked in my own mind. You know, I didn't need to know that part. What I needed to know was just what is this step, and then the next step, and then the next step, and then, oh, here's the next step. I'm renting a home. Oh, now I'm going to Mount Shasta. Yep. Just said goodbye to my boyfriend for 2 months. Yep. Okay, here we go. And then boom. You know, it's just like, it's one loving step at a time, your adventure unfolds for you, because if you knew all of the steps all at once, you wouldn't go. You know, what happens is you have to, it scares the heck out of you. So you just take it one step at a time. And when you do it in a community like how we did it this year with the Sophia Code community, when we journeyed through the community, the foundational curriculum, everybody was cheering each other on in the Facebook forum. Oh my God. One of my favorite things was seeing all the pictures that were posted where Sophia Code initiates were actually meeting each other around the world. They were planning trips to meet with each other. They met with each other at the Sacred Site Immersives. I mean, lifetime friendships were created where, hey, you know what, this ascension journey, kicks some serious butt. But because we're doing this together, we're finding our way through the suffering, and we're finding our way together into the fun, and we're learning that it's safe to take our, you know, really the marching orders are coming from your higher self about what to do about your divine purpose next. You know, this is really all being said tongue in cheek, because yes, they are marching orders, but deep down inside, you really do want to do it. You really do want to take those marching orders. And when you just take it one step at a time, all things are possible. I know it because I'm living it.
Absolutely. And everyone who's listening right now, I mean, you know, their soul guided them to this community and this call because it is an adventure every day. And, you know, Kaia, like I played that new song at the beginning, and I found this song, and it's about hold my hand, and it's about, because we're not alone, and it can be a little bit frightening, or it can be a little bit, all these things. And so having a community where we talk about these things and we come together is so important. It's so, so, so important, you know, because it gives us the strength and the confidence to not need to know everything that's coming next. You know what I mean? It gives us the confidence to trust.
Absolutely. And that is, I love that you said that, Carrie, because that's the heart of Divine Feminine Christ Consciousness and Divine Feminine Christ Leadership. You actually are not here to regurgitate anything. You're here to listen and respond to what's happening and arising next from the center of your heart, even if it, you know, scares the heck out of you. And also resourcing, just like you said, community to know that, oh, it's okay to be vulnerable. Oh, it's okay to not know anything but my next step. Oh, look, there's, you know, one of my closest friends and allies in this community. She's doing the same thing. She's just taken her next step. And, oh, we're going to do this together. Mm-hmm. And I guess this isn't such a big deal to have a big deal dream.
Right. And, you know, one of the things I love that you have shared, and I think it's so important, is developing an immunity to praise and judgment from others and ourselves, because that's a big component here for, you know, really embracing our divinity, which is, you know, we are imperfectly perfect from my perspective. And part of embracing that is letting go of the praise and the judgment, both of it, because we can't rely on the praise, but we can't focus on the judgment either. You know, it's an interesting balance, you know, energetically. But both of the, you know what I'm saying? It's if you rely on the praise or the accolades or the approval of others, that's not going to work. But if you also listen to the judgments and the questions of others, like, what are you doing? Or why are you doing that? Or what's next? Or, you know, that's a setback as well. So Can you speak to that a
We're
little
going
bit? I think it's important.
Totally. Yeah, I love that you remembered to bring that up. Thank you so much. So we are going to talk about this topic in such depth in the 2018 curriculum. This year's journey is pretty much everything that I've learned about being a successful leader, both professionally and internationally. It's like the underbelly of leadership that I don't think is really discussed in a lot of spiritual circles. It's like, oh, let's not talk about it. No, let's talk about it. All right, because it's there. And when we don't name things, we can't claim them and transform them for ourselves. We can't step into our empowerment if we're not really it's just calling everything out into the open, into the clarity, through the power of our voice. So one of the things that has always been unusually natural for me, and I think it was because of how much abuse I suffered in the first half of my life, I realized that there was that the abuse that was happening to me had nothing to do with me. Mm-hmm. It just had nothing to do with me. And it was this incredible attunement for fame, actually, because what I think a lot of people feel intimidated by leadership because they witness that when people really actually do step into the spotlight of being seen, what happens is either a backlash can happen of abusive behavior from people who are suffering so much that they just project and judge the heck out of the person in the spotlight. And also what can happen is people who are really struggling with believing in themselves or their own healing can also project onto you that you're their everything. Mm-hmm. And anybody in that position of being seen for helping others can get trapped, can get really banged up by the abuse of the judgment or kind of caught in this spider's web of becoming somebody's everything, like a guru kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So what is that playing into? Well, it's playing into our greatest fears about leadership. It's playing into our greatest fears about being seen. It almost stops us in our tracks of being seen at all. Oh, well, if I'm seen, I'm going to have to deal with the arrows that and the knives in my back, or people just acting, weird. And all of that is still going to happen anyways. And here's why you're going to still show up to lead anyways. Because there are so many people that don't do any of that at all. And they're just grateful and appreciative that they have a mirror to become their greatest versions of themselves by watching you do what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And that's why we're doing it. That's why we're doing it. I mean, we're doing it for everybody because ultimately, as you are being seen more and more, it is activating those people who are totally miserable and even psychotic, and it is activating those people into this journey of finding their own divinity within them eventually to claim how special and unique they are. But really, what's happening is, what leadership does is it's such a path of honesty. Because if you can say, okay, no matter how much people throw accolades at me, no matter how many knives of judgment people throw at me, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to put a ring in my nose and be led like a cow around by either of that. Exactly. Because if you do, you're never going to do what you're really supposed to do in your heart. And that's the ultimate test of being seen in leadership is, are you going to be you? Are you going to do you? Are you going to do your own deal? Are you going to listen to your own heart? Okay, so one of the most perfect examples for this is when I was channeling the Sophia Dragon Tribe for the first 2 years and telling, just close colleagues about it, I would often get the reflection of, well, maybe you should just leave the dragons out for the first book and just stick with the regular ascended masters. Right. Maybe then you won't be so controversial. And I remember just thinking, oh my God, they're probably right. I'm probably going to get crucified for writing this book and putting the dragons in with these ascended masters and, and all this stuff. And yet I knew actually the reason why I had committed to this project in the deepest recesses of my heart was because of the Sophia Dragon. Right. I'm absolutely so in love with them they're the most magical beings in the universe. It was like, for me, that was the heart between Sophia and the Sophia Dragons. That was the heart of the message of Divine Feminine Christ leadership. So how could I extract that to make people more comfortable? I had to go out there and make people uncomfortable with what was honestly the genius creativity of God pouring through me. And I had to make peace with that people were going to get activated by it. People were going to feel uncomfortable with it. People were going to fall madly in love with it. It was just like all of it was going to happen, and none of it was my business. My business was to stay true to the visions within me and allow them to come out of my heart and to love the heck out of myself in that journey through it. And
isn't that, that's so important, right? You just got to love yourself through it. Yes.
Yeah. So, but here's the reason why. This is the big drum roll lead up. When you don't take in the praise or the judgments of others, what happens is it frees you to truly continue to live in the divine creative genius of your innocence, which is what you're really after in a Divine Feminine Christ offering. It's being in constant communion with your higher self and your source that is constantly guiding you to the most creative, playful, beautiful birthings or interactions or ways of being, of producing things or ideas or revolutionary dialogues that are here to change the world and initiate a new paradigm of thought. But if you're too busy freaking out about what other people are doing or thinking about it, you're damming up your own creative genius coming through you in communion with God.
And we all have it. Everybody has it.
That's right.
Everybody has it. And we want to cultivate that confidence in the listeners to realize that is how they cultivate confidence in speaking their truth. It's letting go of the judgments, letting go of the praise as well. And then you just cultivate that confidence more and more and more.
Yeah. And the creative genius that wants to come through each and every listener on this call is the energy of divinity pouring through you that knows exactly the important puzzle piece that your embodiment fits into what we call the one body of Sophia Christ. So if everybody showed up to their unique, important, wildly creative role that only they can embody and play in this grand drama that we're in here on earth, that's how ascension happens for us in the flesh here on earth. That's how heaven comes to earth, is when I decide to be my most truest self, you decide to be your most truest self, and we fit together like puzzle pieces, and then we start to fly. And that's why we call it that one golden dragon of Sophia Christ consciousness in the Sophia Code. And this is what we got to experience in our community this year, was the things that got created through our community were so seamlessly birthed through every single individual choosing to step into the acknowledgement that they were divine, they were unlimited, and that they were on a heroic human journey to embody that unlimited creative genius, unconditional love, compassion, joy, and clear boundaries for truly showing up to their role, whatever their unique role is. And everyone's so different, and what we got to see was how excited everyone was by the end of the year to just be themselves. Finally. Some of them, for the first time in their lives, they were just like, oh my God, I am finally touching into who I really am. And touching into who you really is going to take you on this adventure to everyone else who wants to just be who they really are with you.
Well, and what better time than now? I mean, I think people are always, every day is a new day. Clearly, every day is a new beginning. But at the beginning of a year, I think people are really reflecting on what they want to experience. And so I want to talk about, as we move forward, we're going to do, for all of our listeners, we're going to do some kind of transmission, whatever Kaia is feeling inspired to share. But first, I want to take a moment to talk about what you've created, because we've been talking about the Sophia what did you call it? I mean, the curriculum is the word. And so all of last year, you worked with the community for an entire year with this Sophia Code curriculum that you're actually offering our community through MP3s and videos of the curriculum at a highly, highly reduced cost. So I want to talk about what you've made available for them, and also there is a coupon code for people to be a part of the 2018 curriculum as well in the offer. So, Kaia, could you share, for those of you who are on the webcast, well, let me just say the easiest way to find this is go to straighttalkforthesoul.com/marketplace, and you'll see Kaia's beautiful picture. And of course, all this information will be in your replay email later. But I want to talk about this, and then we'll go into sort of a deeper transmission. But I want to do this first so that we're all awake and aware to hear.
Yeah, thank you so much, Carrie.
You're welcome.
So this would be considered now the foundational curriculum for embodying your higher self and creating clear mentor relationships with the ascended masters so that you can go through the process of softening and surrendering the ego structures into the greatest version of yourself that you can be, which is a lifetime journey. But what this does is it really activates for an entire year this process through the support of the class material. It's a journey through the book, the Sophia Code. It takes you, the book is so, I mean, I don't even know if I would call it a book. I mean, it's physically a book, but it's such a multi-dimensional journey that when I first released the book, people were having experiences where they couldn't even, the vibration of the book is so high, people would actually pass out from it. And I thought, well, that's a nice compliment, and I need to get people through the book. Because it's really important. So what do people need? And what came was they need to walk with you. And so this is a way to walk with me through this incredible sacred text which is being hailed by people all over the world as, for them, a divine feminine Bible. And so what we do, there's over 30 classes, there's 5 Q&A classes. We would do 1 video class a month and then 1 teleclass a month, and then we also had additional bonus Q&A classes. And it's just a wealth of information. We've been transcribing each of the classes, and the people who are doing this transcription work have just been like, we can't believe how much information is in with just one class.
I know.
Because each class is channeled. So,
this is a whole year's worth. And, yeah, it's amazing how much is in this.
Yeah, so this is a foundation for embodying your highest self. Now, with that said, I really believe that if the listeners on this call are here and now, even if they haven't done this foundational curriculum, I know that this foundational curriculum can be done simultaneously with this year's journey. Because in this year's journey, we're meeting once a month, and then what I'm doing is I'm releasing the chapter by chapter every month of this next book called the Elegant Equation of Divine Feminine Christ Leadership. So everything that you'd be doing in the foundational curriculum is totally on par with what's going to be offered once a month through mostly video live transmissions all year long, where you're going to be mentored in your leadership, in your service, in being seen. Even if you don't know where or how you're being called into leadership, it doesn't even matter, because the energy and frequency of this year's journey is such an invitation for you to be curious, for you to have fun, for you to explore with the ceremony and the tools and all of the different guidance that we're going to be receiving from the Ascended Masters about what you can explore in real time in your daily life about leading and serving. It's all of this information, both from the foundational curriculum and this year's journey, very applicable to daily life and how to put your spirituality into action where the rubber hits the road, in your daily life, in the grocery store, with your partner, with your children, driving down the road in traffic, It's like that's where our spirituality has to actually be accessed. And so this is ascension material for your heroic human journey and for your greatest success. Especially what we're doing in the foundational curriculum is we're dismantling all of our small ideas about ourselves and truly activating our awareness to deeply on every level of our being, physical, emotional, mental, and through all your spiritual causal bodies, to accept that you are actually divine. And that would seem like a logical statement, but we have so many layers of disbelief from our collective consciousness to get through. To fully step into where we go finally in chapter 13 of the Sophia Code, where you truly remember yourself as a divine birther creatrix of all life. And when you're playing the game of life from that place, leadership, making a divine feminine offering is a whole other reality. So these two curriculums actually perfectly interface with each other. And so if people are like on the call and they're like, oh my gosh, this sounds amazing, but I want to do one at a time, get started. You can get started with today's amazing sale for like over 30 classes for only like $295, I think, or something like that.
Well, yeah, I wanted to say that because when you did this last year, I mean, I think the curriculum was around $1,200 or somewhere, and we're offering it for $295, and they have all of it at their fingertips to listen. You know, it's all completed. And so they can get started on that. And we have the 2-pay option. So I guess that's $147 this month and $147 next month. But the beautiful thing is, I want to remind them that there's also, you're adding in as a bonus, all of the Sophia Code initiations are in there.
The Divine Feminine Christ initiation.
Yes. So if you want to develop that relationship, or like you said, when you're going to develop a relationship with Isis, Hathor, Green Tara, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, Kuan Yin, White Buffalo Woman, the dragons, they're going to be on your side working with you when you do these initiations. And Kaia, when I did them, well over a year ago, before you came on the show the first time, I mean, they've been with me ever since. It has not, everything that you said earlier is, it's a daily thing. They are committed to you once you do these initiations. So there's so much in this offer that for the people listening, if you want to begin 2018 and move forward, it's a phenomenal opportunity. I'll say that. And Kaia, you were so generous to offer the entire curriculum, from last year to this community. So thank you for doing that, because it's a lot.
Yeah, you're welcome. I just believe in it so much. I know that as people initiate themselves into mentoring with the Ascended Masters of the Sophia Dragon Tribe, I know we're here to set the world on fire with divine feminine Christ consciousness. I know that we're activating an international community that is growing exponentially by the day for this true force of goodness, peace, beauty, and wild divine genius creativity to seriously take over this world and usher in this new golden age paradigm of what the Ascended Masters call in the book the Age of Miracles. I know that's a real thing. I've seen the visions for years, but most importantly, I got to witness over the course of this year, wow, how many people all over the world truly changed their lives through this foundational curriculum, altars for doorways for the Ascended Masters to be interfacing on this reality are built all over the world now. People are opening temples all over the world. Circles, doing these initiations together, happening all over the world, literally every day. It's mind-blowing. And to me, what that means is the divine feminine is on the loose now, and there's no turning back. We are a force of divine nature. We are, it's like the Holy Spirit on the loose. It's so exciting what that wild, freed voice of the divine feminine is going to do now. Now that we feel the support and the clarity and the power and the presence of our divine feminine mentors backing us from behind, we got this. We got this, and now what? Wow, how exciting. What are we going to do with all of our creative power? What are we going to birth together? And that's why I can't say how excited I am to see what happens with the next wave of light workers that really take in these initiations and say yes to their divinity, yes to the creative genius flowing through them, and yes to these really powerful mentor relationships that are going to rock their world in the best way. Which,
yeah.
Yeah,
in the greatest
Thanks
way.
for sharing about your personal experience with that, because I love hearing about how, people that I care about, how, where they went with this material. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, well, and yes, I mean, and it affects every aspect of life. It empowers you in every single aspect of your life. Your relationships, your health, your finances, everything, and clearly your spirituality. But it's practical as well. I mean, we're souls in human form, and we're in these bodies, and we're here, and there's some challenges, but this really supports us in so many ways, and it gives us the confidence to lead with our soul, which to me, that's what this whole show is about. It's about really having the confidence to lead with your soul and listen to your soul, and not care about what other people think. And like you said, the ascended masters didn't ascend until they had, done some stuff here, until they had really, really owned their creative potential. And
in human form.
Yes, exactly. While here, not later. So now is the time.
There's no later.
Right?
There's no later.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
So, well, the offer is just incredible, and I know that I'll be getting lots of wonderful feedback, just like last time. We got so much amazing feedback, Kaia, from the people who got the initiations and stuff last time. I mean, it is kind of, I was like, kind of life changing. It is life changing. It's transformative, and I don't say that lightly. It really is. But people have to experience it for themselves. So if called to do so, it is an amazing opportunity. So Kaia, thank you. And what are you feeling with regard to, because I wanted people to experience some kind of transmission through you, because, someone's wondering, like, through you, were you ever a trance channel, or now at this point, it's sort of like you just do it in an awakened, clear state. But were you ever a trance channel?
So I am, from other lifetimes and from all of my training with the spirit world. In this lifetime, I am very natural, capable trance channel, and as well as medium. And I mean, it took me years to get the handle on how many spirits wanted to come through me and talk through me and all of that. And it almost killed me because it is such a natural thing for me, but and it's pretty dangerous to be a trance channel. But that was part of my journey with the Sophia Code, was when I had come to a place where, because I did do public trance channeling with a very specific being that I had ancestor contracts with. And when we completed all of the messages that he needed to share and all of the ceremonies that needed to happen, I came to the end of the road with that, and I said, okay, obviously I can do that. But, it's like,
check.
Okay, yeah. And this isn't what I can do for the rest of my life. This isn't the way that I want to channel for the rest of my life. And so I went into that deep space with the Sophia Code, and that's what I talked to the Ascended Masters about. It was like, you got to show me another way, because this has got to be, I've got to feel my sovereignty in all of this. And so what we teach in the Sophia Code Foundational Curriculum, and really just through the transmission of the book, is we don't need to have spirits come through us like that. What we do in the Sophia Code is we fully embody our higher self consciousness. Our higher self consciousness is an omniscient divine consciousness which can speak to any entity or being without that being or entity coming anywhere near your body. So if you're choosing to fully embody your higher self and anchor in every cell of your body because the divine genome, right? It's crystalline chromosomes. What can crystals do? Crystals can actually hold an unlimited amount of light within them. So if every single one of your cells is activated to download the light of your higher self and anchor it and hold it there, there's no room inside of you for any kind of entity attack or possession or any of that stuff, which can often happen through trans-channeling. The only thing that's happening is the light and omniscient presence of the divinity of your higher self is within you. It's radiating out of you. That consciousness then negotiates which spirits or angels or beings are most appropriate for you to actually be having a conversation with. Further, in the Sophia Code cosmology that we learn about in the foundational curriculum, what we do is we invoke or cast what we call a divine feminine Christ circle of empowerment around you. So we can actually do this in the transmission. We can practice this together right now. And so in that circle of divine feminine Christ light, because I used to be experience a lot of attacks in the work that I do, and this stops the attack dead in their tracks. This, what I'm about to share right now, it would seem very simple, but these divine feminine Christ key code mentors are so powerful and so committed to, because I'm being initiated with them every day. So in essence, I'm under their protection. And so is everyone else if they choose to receive that level of support, if that makes sense.
It does. Oh, and I think this is resonating with the audience so much because we get a lot of emails about that from people. So this is perfect. This is perfect.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's empowering.
To be in a divine feminine role of leadership, you actually have to be continually emptying yourself and vulnerable and open to the light of your divinity coming through you. But that means you're going to be opening to whole new levels of sensitivity simultaneously. Well, what do you do when you're feeling sensitive and need support? You call up your girls, right? You call up your besties and you say, come on, help a sister out, you got my back? And they're like, yeah, I got your back. All of these divine feminine Christ mentors have got your back when you call them in to create the circle around you. And we just did the Blessing Way ceremony with Mother Mary on January 3rd. We had like 800 people or something, even maybe more, show up to it live. And, when you do big live events, all sorts of psychic projections can get thrown out. I couldn't believe how seamlessly protected I felt with her behind me in the
That's so beautiful. Mm-hmm.
It was so precious. So let's start there for today's transmission.
Okay.
Great.
That sounds good.
And I know we don't have much time left, so we'll make this brief. But a lot can get done in a short amount of time when you're living fully in the present moment of eternity.
Mm-hmm. Take as much time as you need.
Okay.
Whatever feels right. Whatever feels right.
Okay, great. Let's begin with the prayer of the Divine Feminine Christ to ground and center ourselves, which you can find at the beginning of chapter 1 when Sophia speaks of the Sophia Code. We will say this prayer together 3 times. If for those initiates who are on the call, you're all on mute, so you can say it out loud with me. To invoke the sanctuary of space, which is the one sacred heart of Sophia, Divine Mother of all life. Take me to that place, deep within your womb, where I can know nothing and be reborn anew. Divine Mother of all life, take me to that place, deep within your womb, where I can know nothing and be reborn anew. Divine Mother of all life, take me to that place, deep within your womb, where I can know nothing and be reborn anew. And I invite each and every listener to just feel how the atoms of the molecules and the air around you have shifted to a higher frequency immediately as we connect to that womb space, which is the Sacred Heart of Sophia, opening up a sanctuary space within you and all around you, knowing that you are a holographic blueprint of Sophia's consciousness. Therefore, the Divine Feminine Christ Sacred Heart Womb also exists within you. And feeling that peace of the no thing, nothing, the space, the black, warm womb space where just nothing exists. And as you return to this space, you are returning to that unconditionally loving presence that adores you, that accepts you, that gave birth to your soul, and therefore approves of you in all ways. Your Holy Mother approves of you as a daughter and son of the Most High. Sophia, Sophia, Sophia. And in this moment, I invite you to just lay back, receive that Holy Mother's love, that presence, up-leveling, clearing out those places and spaces within you without even a thought about it. There's an instantaneous shift in consciousness, but there's actually nothing wrong with you. There's nothing lacking within you. You were made as sovereign and divine. You were made as this holy chalice, this human holy chalice, for this presencing of Sophia, the one divine mother of all life, to rejoice in herself as being a hologram of you. And as Sophia says at the end of her chapter, I love you. You are free. You are me. We are one. And it is safe now to reveal who you really are now. With this intention and this prayer given to us directly from that one source light of Sophia, that it is safe to remember who you really are now. I invite your consciousness to open, soften, surrender even more deeply into this primordial black womb space, and witness that single point, that unknown point within the multiverse of this womb space. We'll never know where it is, where it begins or ends. It's one of the ineffable mysteries of the Divine Feminine Christ energies and consciousness, but it exists nonetheless. And this is where the light arises from the nothing. Let's go there. Let's witness where the thrones upon thrones upon thrones of angels begin to arise along with this light, witnessing those beautiful Seraphiel of the Sophia dragons begin to arise as well within that light, who are giving birth to all the universes, planets, species, and beings within this cosmos of form. Yes. Feeling yourself in that, noticing the difference between the nothing, which is so peaceful, and the glorious symphonies of that light that begins to arise from the nothing. The rainbows, the lightning, the star nurseries, the Sophia dragons, all the orders of angels tending to the creation, the geometry, all the beings of light that are gathered by this, where this point of conception happens, of birthing happens. Really, the gestation happens within the womb, but this birthing out of light. Now remember, everything that appears to be physical is actually light, moving slow enough through a holographic matrix of reality so that you can have the experience of the density of form. But the truth is, all molecules are light, moving at a rate of motion that allows for you to have that experience with your sweet little eyeballs, that you have a physical planet, a physical human body that you're interfacing with. But the truth is, it's all light. That's the truth. All of creation is light waves and particles particles of light and waves of light, magnetizing to it more and more particles that assemble the realities of form. Isn't that beautiful? It's all the light. And as you stand here at the threshold, almost like a massive throne of a yoni giving birth to this light, just all this light coming out of her sacred heart womb, this massive Divine Mother yoni is just all this light, rapturous light, all of the angels singing over and over again. Sophia, Sophia, Sophia. Sophia is all there is. And the waves upon waves of those, and what Mother Mary describes in the Sophia Code, the rose petals of geometry that then go out, magnetizing all the different forms of beauty to itself. Feel those rapturous waves of light scintillating over you. Creation is very sensual. Creation is very feminine. Creation is in love with itself. It loves to feel good. It loves to feel the joy of itself. The Divine Feminine loves to feel the joy of herself. The Divine Mother loves to feel her unlimited, powerful Creatrix beauty going out into every reality, every dimensional reality. She loves those aspects of the Divine Masculine within her, adoring, worshiping, serving, focusing her into even more greater and greater creations. And these are universal principles. It doesn't have to be gender-based. These are how the principles, the Divine Feminine, the Divine Masculine dance with each other, dancing this alchemy of creation. Being of service to one another, informing one another, worshiping one another. Feeling how these universal principles are dancing within you right now. Here at the throne of that sacred heart of the Divine Mother, giving birth to all life, perpetually, continually, unlimited. Take a look around. You cannot stop this Divine Mother from creating anything that she wants to. You're not in control, and that's a good thing. Because this all-powerful, omniscient, divine presence of our one, Sophia Source, is all loving. She made you as free as a bird in your sovereignty. She would never control you because she would never control herself. She knows that the goodness, the truth, the divinity, the way, the truth, and the life, that she designs the blueprint of your soul, the key code of your soul. It was an immaculate conception of herself. So she's expecting that one day you're going to wake up to all of that divine beauty and all that divinity. She trusts in you. She has faith in you. She knows what you're up to in your evolution as her. What a privilege, what an opportunity, what a responsibility, what a joy it is to be you. As this light of divinity on the move, having a blessed, heroic human experience. This is you. And so the reason why we return to the womb and we return to the light arising from the womb in this Divine Feminine blueprint, this Divine Feminine Christ blueprint of how this universe is really birthed into reality, is because any place that you want to lead from in 2018, any place that you want to feel your truest self, making your truest offering, it comes from this space within you. It's not contrived. You don't have to make it up. It's already arising within you. From the womb space of your own creative Divine Mother, Divine Father consciousness, the divinity of your higher self is going to be continually arising as both the nothing and the light within you. And so at this time, I'm witnessing the beautiful Divine Feminine Christ mentor for leadership that's going to be mentoring us all year long in the Sophia Code Curriculum, Mother Mary, who's key code 4, she of 1,000 roses, is stepping forward. And she's coming behind you and she's placing her hands on your shoulders and she's saying, oh my dear, oh my beloved, if you only knew how important you are, how loved you are, how holy, pure, and innocent you are. And my dear, how wildly powerful you are. And she's just placing her hands on your shoulders and she's assuring you whatever resistance is to those words that she just spoke through me, or whatever excitement that is elicited from you when you hear the truth of Mary's message to you, that whatever you're feeling is totally accepted in its space. And may every cell in your body feel that absolute acceptance for whatever feelings are arising, because this is also a part of Divine Feminine leadership. we bless and acknowledge and honor whatever's arising, whether it's the feelings that are being transformed or the feelings that are arising for the first time, maybe it's anger or grief or sadness, because when we peer into the truth of our own divinity, and maybe I pray that you can feel this in this moment, when you really take the time through meditation and prayer to make this kind of communion possible within yourself, what happens is all of the beliefs or traumas begin to arise as well that have been waiting for you to witness that the truth of your being is this holy. The truth of this being is that you are this good. The truth of your being is that you are this loving presence. And you never had to do anything to earn it. You never had to fix yourself to be this, which you already are. And so we've spent years of our life lost in the searching. We've spent years of our life indebting ourselves to unworthiness. We've spent years of our life impoverishing ourselves to believe that we're not good enough of our divine inheritance, which was already yours. And that's okay. So whatever is arising in the field, frustration or anger or disbelief, all of it's welcome here. You don't have to make it go away. We invite you in the presence of Mother Mary to actually, as you peer into the light of this womb space, of the light of creation arising, and the light that is animating your own physical body, we invite this light to bless your feelings, to honor those feelings, to acknowledge those feelings. Your divinity is unconditional compassion as well. So you can take the medicine of your own light's divinity and rub it all over you. You can anoint your heart with it like a salve. You can fill your mouth up with it right now, like the food you've been starving to eat your whole life. May this divinity that you are pour down your throat like mother's milk. And to assist you with this very luxurious feast that we are allowing ourselves, giving ourselves permission to feed our souls with this. The table of Christ consciousness, the feast of Christ consciousness, we're going to practice that divine feminine Christ circle of empowerment right here and right now, because here we are faced with the absolute light of your divinity, which can bring up some stuff, but let's explore what it felt like before to feel that light just by yourself, supposedly by yourself. We're never by ourselves, right? But now let's invite all the mentors to come in so that you can feel their support and see how that shifts the environment for you, shall we say, both within and all around you. Holy Mother, Sophia, source of all life, thank you so much for this extraordinary communion that we are experiencing within that one self that you are, within your one sacred heart. I now call upon the fullness of the Sophia Dragon Tribe High Council of Ascended Masters, who are experts on activating and mentoring us in embodying the fullness of our own sovereign divinity, which you have given to all in equal measure. Holy Mother, Sophia God, Holy Father, Sophia God, I welcome the fullness of the Sophia Dragon Tribe here on behalf of all beings on this call. Further, I also invite and welcome the first revealed 8 Divine Feminine Christ key codes as revealed in your sacred text of the Sophia Code to come forward now and to create this circle of your Sophia Christ light, this divine feminine Christ circle of empowerment around each and every individual on this call so that they can feel the absolute power of your divine feminine Holy Mother, Sophia Christ consciousness surrounding them now in a very radical and real, grounded physical way, which is what happens when we work and mentor with Ascended Master mentors. It's such an extraordinary gift that you've offered to us through this modern day mystery school that is revealed in the Sophia Code. Thank you, Holy Mother. We receive these initiations now. Okay. So remember, there's going to be a replay for this show. So if you're trying to take notes, just give it up and let go. And really receive here in this moment. In the northern quadrant, I invite you to visualize the circle of light around you. And you can either, it's up to you. You can visualize that the north is in front of you or the north is directly behind you. But either way, it's either directly in front of you or directly behind you. I personally visualize the north as directly in front of me. And in the north, I would like to welcome the Divine Feminine Christ Ascended Master, who is known as White Buffalo Woman. Key Code 7 of the Sophia Code. She of 1,000 white clouds and thunder beings. She is a thunder being archangel. She is one of the Maha key codes for learning how to be in the totality of commanding miracles in your own Divine Feminine Christ embodiment. She's an extraordinary mentor that you'll meet in Chapter 12 of the Sophia Code. And she's standing before you now in all of her beauty and all of her glory, this beautiful long raven hair, a beautiful white buckskin dress, her beautiful beaded moccasins, or her moccasins are beaded with the whirling rainbow prophecies. Her eyes shift colors. You may see tiny lightning bolts descending from them. She is very much associated with the element of water and rain, and the healing storms of transformation. And behind her is arriving the Syrian Star Nation, this collective soul group known as the Syrian Star Nation, that arrives in the form of the white buffalo. There are currently about 25 white buffalo physically on the planet. These are the embodiments of this angelic order, which is an answered prophecy in the Sophia Code lineage is a prophetic lineage. It's a lineage of prophecy and oracular tradition. So this is an embodiment of one of those prophecies that heralds that we are stepping into this age of miracles now. So welcoming this wonderful energy of Key Code 7, anchoring your gateway of life in the north. In the northeast, which in the Apache lineage that I've been initiated into, the northeast is the home of the master teachers, the Kachinas. And we welcome our, wow, what a master teacher, Key Code 1, Isis. She of 1,000 names. Isis is one of the most glorious divine feminine ascended masters for getting things done on the earth plane, with your business, with your career, with your divine purpose, with just how you want to embody your divine feminine Christ light and make everything beautiful in your life, both yourself and body, taking care of your body and your health, adorning yourself, worshiping the divinity within you, creating your home and your workspaces as temple spaces. But she also is this really sensual mentor for having truly authentic, heart-centered partnerships, and balancing your partnership relationships with your work life. So she's both practical and romantic, and she is arriving for you as a master teacher. Oh God, she's such a goddess. She's so gorgeous and amazing, and she's got this real musculature to her arms, and her wings are rising up because she actually revealed to us the Key Code 2 transmission that you are not bound by physical limitations on this earth plane, because she was mentored by Hathor, who is now arriving in the eastern gate of your life, where Hathor was mentoring Isis while she was living on the earth plane about how to overcome all physical limitations and shape-shift into whatever form you want to, which by the end of her career, Isis had actually manifested her angel wings while in human form. And that's why she's so often depicted with these angel wings in the Egyptian tradition. It actually happened on the earth plane, as revealed in her chapter 6 of the Sophia Code. And welcoming beautiful, glorious Hathor to the eastern gate of our divine feminine circle of empowerment. Hathor, of course, is singing because her Sophia embodiment title is She of 1,000 Voices. As she comes in attendance with an order of angels, they are Ophanim angels, which means they're closely associated with the wheels within wheels, the sacred geometries of light. That is spoken about in the Old Testament. They are they sing in these harmonics to rearrange physical reality into whatever stargates of creation and birthing that you want to call forth in this reality. So Hathor mentors us in our truly unlimited ability to open stargates here on earth and manifest lavish abundance, lavish health, and to have an incredible, far-reaching effect with our divine feminine leadership. When she walked the earth, her mystery school lineages covered half the planet. Let's be honest. She comes to us as a golden ray teacher of unlimited success, unlimited bliss, unlimited omniscient multidimensional awareness that actually can be experienced in human form on a daily basis, and how to put all of that into Holy Spirit action, making things happen on the earth plane. So we're welcoming in Hathor as your mentor here in the East, and all the glorious golden rays that come with her and her immaculate voice, which is activating your throat chakra right now. In the Southeast, we welcome She of 1,000 Stars, Key Code 3 of the Sophia Code, Green Tara, Om Tari Tutari Tori Soha, 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 Om Tari Tutari Tori Soha. And as Green Tara arrives in her beautiful emerald skin and her light Dakini body, wow, she is just one of the most multidimensional Maha key codes we have. And as she arrives, her initiation is that it's safe to create your heaven on earth. And Feng Shui, the southeast direction, is the direction of abundance and finances. And so this is why we invoke Green Tara here, is to mentor your awareness that it's safe to be wealthy, it's safe to be rich, it's safe to be successful. Yes, there will be lots of things to manage and be responsible for if you do decide to allow yourself everything you want in this lifetime. But it is safe for you to let yourself have it if you're willing to say yes. So Tara helps us with the magnificence and the grandeur that we want to call in our Divine Feminine Christ leadership and our Divine Feminine Christ embodiment and offering, but it also helps us keep it really light, because as we said in the beginning of this call, Tara said, and what the true definition of enlightenment is choosing to look into the light of your divinity and never look away again. What an irresistible invitation that she's going to continue to extend to you now from the southeast corner. This gateway, this column of light that she is holding for you now in your Divine Feminine Christ circle of empowerment. And now we turn to the south, where glorious Mother Mary stands with us in all of her robes, covered in shimmering stars, and her arms are in that open-armed mudra of Divine Feminine Christ consciousness. Her arms are always open to you. And there's this massive amount of light that is coming directly through Mary's crown chakra, directly through her hands, and is blessing you from the southern gateway of your Divine Feminine Christ circle. And she is blessing you with this transmission of how worthy you are, how good enough you are. I'm witnessing that the Divine Feminine Christ light coming through Mother Mary in the southern gate, she's directly addressing those people on this call that have had, that were raped in their childhood or were abused, with domestic violence. I'm also seeing her beautiful Divine Feminine Christ light bringing quantum healing work to areas where you may feel really constricted or angry about limitations in your life. And she's saying, follow me. I can show you the way to the treasure trove of your own heart's calling that will lead you out of the old paradigm that you may find yourself constricted by. She is such an exceptional mentorship for remembering that your greatest spiritual wealth comes from your own heart and from your own willingness to go where it's uncomfortable for you to go. And she is assuring you that there are blessings, both physical and spiritual and emotional. It's the full package that happens when you keep showing up to say yes to who you really are. And she's promised, and hearing her promise to you, that she wants to mentor you all year long, both through this 2018 curriculum that's coming up, through the Sophia Code journey, but also just in your, even if that journey isn't, you're not ready for that this year, she wants you to know she's available to mentor you all year long, and all you have to do is say yes right now. There's so many ways she wants to reach into your heart and help make this easier for you. She's saying, you've all suffered enough. And when we stand in the southern gate, we're in the contemplation of the prayer for more life, the prayer for the inner child to feel safe, the prayer for your inner mother to learn how to nurture and support and celebrate and uplift your inner child, for that creative genius to come pouring through you in 2008. We're standing in the gateway of partnership and love and family and good food and community and support and loving mentors that have gone ahead of you to make the way easier for you. We're standing in the gateway of more life. So if you've been struggling with depression, if you've been just struggling with thoughts that you're not good enough, or that, you just feel like you're just never going to feel at home on this planet, in this moment, Mother Mary is showering you with thousands upon thousands of rose petals. She's anointing you. She's blessing you. She's whispering to you that you are more than enough, and there's so much goodness ahead of you. She's right here by your side. And of course, when we receive Mother Mary, who's right there with her, it's her beautiful spiritual daughter, Mary Magdalene, and her beautiful son, Jesus, standing there side by side with her in the Southwest. And in the native traditions that I've studied, in the Southwest is the gateway of the healing storms. It's the home of the thunder beings. It's where we tap into the healer archetype within us. It's where we begin to tap into the material of our subconscious and maybe some of our shadow material to access our greatest spiritual goals and our truest, most authentic, almost like animal parts of ourselves that don't think, they just know what's right. That deeply intuition that's coming from the black womb within us, that's primordial. It knows where you need to go, what healing storms you need to walk through so that you can then experience the rainbow and the sunshine on the other side. What is that rainbow and the sunshine? It's just more of your profound divinity coming through your heroic human journey. And so I welcome the diamond light of Mary Magdalene, who is such an exceptional divine feminine Christ mentor for leading in 2018. She's kind of like the darling of the Ascended Master world because she's a newer Ascended Master along with Jesus. And there's this, she's kind of like the indigo feral, the indigo generation of Ascended Masters. And that's why we're so obsessed with her. That's why we're so in love with Mary Magdalene. She's gorgeous. She's wildly intelligent. No, she wasn't the character that the Bible portrayed her in at all. You can read all about the true embodiment of Mary Magdalene in the Sophia Code, the absolute purity of her soul, the absolute the powerful, creative, and yes, sensual embodiment that Mary Magdalene carried as this pristine divine feminine Christ leader who walked side by side in the portents with Jesus in that very pivotal lifetime for all three of them. So just welcoming that diamond light of Mary Magdalene, wow, what a knockout she is, and just feeling how in her presence the diamond light within your own heart begins to accelerate. And you may begin to feel as though there's a diamond in your heart that gets bigger and bigger, and you're witnessing the many facets of your own glory, the divinity, the glory of your own unique key code within your own heart, the glory of your own unique offering. Both the gentleness and the ferocity of it, both the compassion and as well as the clear boundaries. When we're in the presence of Mary Magdalene, she was an oracle for Sekhmet. She was an oracle for Kali Ma. We tap into that ferocity, that angelic ferocity that's willing to overcome the greatest darknesses within ourselves or within this world to bring forth the greatest light. It's kind of gangster. It's super Jedi, and it's really badass. And that's what you and I are all being initiated into our own Jedi angelic light in Divine Feminine Christ Leadership in 2018. As we share about on that informational page, it's time to get your Joan of Arc on. And there's no better mentor for having more fun and more creativity is stepping into that Joan of Arc energy than Mary Magdalene. I'm also acknowledging that Joan of Arc has come forward as a part of the Order of Magdalena that supports Mary Magdalene and Jesus as key code mentors of the Sophia Code behind them in the second ring outside the immediate Divine Feminine Christ circle of empowerment that's surrounding you now. And in the West, we build up to all of this Maha, fierce empowerment, and no less, what you find, eventually you discover through the initiations of the Sophia Code, is that every single one of these key code mentors is super fierce in the most loving way, and that includes Kuan Yin. I think a lot of times when we tune into the elegant equation of Kuan Yin, we often just notice her fair complexion and the softness of her countenance as perhaps we melt into her, into this incredible, like rose quartz pink Divine Mother's ray of compassion and absolute acceptance. But know that she's also carrying this piercing white light as well. She is her own divine force of nature that is this radical compassion that just won't quit, that won't give up on you. She won't let you give up on you, very much like Isis. And so just feeling how multidimensional that is as a mentorship here with Key Code 6, She of 1,000 Waters. Kuan Yin is mentoring us in one of the most powerful teachings about divine feminine embodiment and leadership, which is that we are here to soften. Everything about being human can feel very hard. And so the prayer is, how much can you soften to give yourself permission to allow, to receive the unlimited nature of your divinity flowing through your humanity? It's the rigidity, the rigid resistances, the control mechanisms that we think we need to employ to feel safe in our spirituality, that Kuan Yin is mentoring us in how to soften and be like the water, and the medicine of water. Water goes where it's called to go. You know, when you turn on your faucet, the water doesn't think about it and say no, unless there's a plumbing issue, which has nothing to do with the water. The water's always saying yes. You want me to flow here? Yes. You want me to shower your body now? Yes. You want me to flow down your throat and nourish your stomach and the rest of all the cells in your body? Yes. Water is always saying yes. That is the heart of showing up to leadership. It's an everyday yes. Water flows to where there's messes. Water flows to where there's pristine temples. Water just keeps saying yes. Yes, I will go purify. Yes, I will go nourish. Yes, I will go refresh and baptize. Yes. And so this is what beautiful Key Code 6, Divine Feminine Ascended Master Kuan Yin, She of 1,000 Waters, will be mentoring you in this year in your journey with Divine Feminine leadership. I'm also acknowledging her Divine Masculine counterpart, Maha-Avatar Baba Chi, who is standing behind her in full support of her Divine Feminine embodiment. And in this teaching, we are to be in remembrance that the Divine Feminine principles, and if you identify physically as a Divine Feminine Christ embodiment, that the blueprint of this universe is for those energies of the Divine Masculine to be in service, to protect, to serve, to uplift, to rejoice, to help co-create and help the Divine Feminine focus upon everything that she's here to do in this lifetime. And in this amazing dance of Divine Masculine, Divine Feminine, Christ consciousness, new radical worlds are birthed through the empowerment of that figure eight, Divine Masculine, Divine Feminine, both within you and in your relationships all around you, being of service to one another. And finally, we arrive to the Northwest, which in the Native First Nations lineage that I'm initiated into, this is the home of the magical ones, the magical beings. And this is why the magical helpers, we have anchored the Sophia Dragons here in your Divine Feminine Christ embodiment. Now, for those of you who are afraid of dragons or think they're some part of the reptilian, whatever, that's okay. There's nothing here to be afraid of. You can have all your feelings and thoughts and opinions, and you don't have to have them here if you don't want to. When I met the Sophia Dragons, I met them as the highest seraphim, the holy creatures in the Kabbalah. They speak about the seraphim, and a singular word for a seraphim is seraph. They think about a seraph as a holy creature of fire. That's all they call it. They don't have a label for it. And when I found that in my research, it was so amazing to me, because that was what I experienced in that moment when I stepped into the light of Sophia, were these incredible Sophia dragons that were the angels of her heart, that were a part of giving birth to new realities, new universes, new planets, and new species through the gestation of their heart womb, of Sophia's immaculate conceptions within their heart womb. And every one of their scales is always singing the worship and glory of the Divine Mother. They flash with rainbows and lightning. They go on forever. You don't know where they begin or end, but they are wholly consecrated to the worshiping and to serving all of Sophia, and to birthing all of Sophia's creation. They are Divine Mother Creatrix birthers for the sovereign children of Sophia to be birthed into the world of form. And so we meet these Divine Feminine Christ mentors as the pinnacle of what it means to be fully embodied with your own divinity and to completely merge your free will with the divine will of Sophia God, Holy Mother, Holy Father God, that wants to birth new worlds through you, new paradigm solutions that are so aligned with the joy and pleasure and play of your own heart. You become so merged in the communion of divinity within you that you become the radical, whole, heroic, master God, goddess embodiment of your truest self within your human form on earth. That's what the Sophia Dragons represent, because angelic dragon medicine, as we talk about in chapter 13 of the Sophia Code, is you are initiated into the mastery of living within the form, but birthing and creating beyond the laws that govern form. So if you're existing within this world of form, but you can create and birth beyond the laws that govern this form, what does that mean? That means you're a golden dragon creatrix that can create anything here. And so we could go on for days and days and days to explore that with the Sophia Dragons, and we're going to explore it all year long. And we explored it in the foundational curriculum. We're going to explore it all year long in our leadership in 2018. But that's just a taste to feel that seraphim light that is truly supporting you. There are so many orders of angels and archangels that are supporting specifically your divine feminine unpacking, unfurling, unfolding into your step-by-step journey of leadership and Divine Feminine Christ service in 2018. You're not doing this alone with these key code mentors. They've got your back. And just before we close, noticing how present you feel, how held you are, how everything within your circle now, so you have your human body, and your human body is filled with the presence of your higher self, with the presence of your own divinity, how the presence of your own divinity is connecting you directly in a direct communion with Sophia, the light of your own source. And then it radiates out to this circle. So it's like there's a bubble that goes out from you to the edge of that circle. And then lo and behold, there's all of those, you could picture like columns of light in each of the 8 directions. And within those columns, almost like Star Trek, where they go, beam me up, Scotty, they would stand in that column of light. There's those ascended masters standing with you. And each of those gateway points in that circle around you. And feel what it's like to now stare into the light of your divinity, surrounded by all these ladies, and know what it's like to be in their divinity all the time. It's a completely different experience. It's like, oh, okay, I'm hanging out with my friends in high places. I got this. I can do this. I'm going to own this. And that's what they're going to walk you through step by step through 2018, is owning and flexing the diamond light of your divinity through Divine Feminine Christ leadership. So I want to give thanks to the fullness of the Sophia Dragon Tribe for this this taste, it's a small taste of the power of this transmission because we don't want to blow anybody out. But I think this has been a really perfect sampling of how truly powerful your invitation is. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Mm-hmm.
Kaia, thank you. Wow. I didn't expect that. That was amazing. Oh, my goodness. That was a beautiful taste.
You're so welcome.
Yes.
So good. So glad. A little sampling.
Yes. That was a perfect appetizer, and it really gives people an indication of, what to anticipate if they choose to do the journey with you for 2018, or the one from 2017.
Exactly.
That's just a taste, and it's. I want to just reiterate what was in there. That curriculum. It was a lot. It was the initiations, all the different initiations, and then 30 classes, 12 months of recorded calls and videos, and so there's a lot there, you guys. And and what's beautiful, Kaia, is although we've gone on for a while, this call has been so full. As long as it's been, everybody is stuck with us, and that says a lot. That says a lot. So thank you.
Oh, I just want to say, thank you so much to everyone on the line for really choosing to be in communion and sanctuary together, and to really take a moment to dive deep into the Sacred Heart of Divine Feminine Consciousness collectively as a community. Together we just sent out such a massive diamond light to all of humanity through today's transmission. I just want to thank each and every one of you for being a part of this movement with me, with the Sophia Code Initiate community. We're welcoming you. Our arms are wide open. We're so happy that you're here in this call today, and we consider it an honor to be a mirror for the pristine light of your higher self embodiment here in human form in 2018. Welcome home. We love you. Thank you for being here today.
Oh, we love you, Kaia. Oh, my goodness.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here to just usher in this brand new season of ours here on Straight Talk for the Soul, and just for, it was just a totally wonderful beginning. Thanks to you. And, so thank you again for the offer, for everything. The transmission today was just, wow, amazing. And to everybody, we will have the replay up in just a little while. So I want to thank everybody for being with us today. And Kaia, one more thank you to you. And to everybody, I am so honored that you have spent this time and space with all of us here. I hope the information, the light, the energy, the transmissions have just inspired you to allow for a beautifully illuminated bounce into grace and love and healing and safety and empowerment and everything beautiful. I want to extend my appreciation to you for adding your light to this sacred circle. We are family here, and there's no mistake that you felt drawn to be here today. Together, I feel like we expand more beautifully than alone, and we amplify our light. We persevere within and through all the challenges, realizing that we do have a support system. So feel into that, you guys. Feel into the group harmonic of this space, and trust and know the love is here for you. Thank you for opening your hearts and being willing to expand with us today. It is a privilege to walk beside you on this amazing, miraculous, epic journey. I'm sending waves and waves of love and light and gratitude directly from my heart to yours. May you feel it, receive it, offer it to everyone that you encounter today or tonight, wherever you are in the world. And remember to open your heart and allow yourself to flow through the information in Kaia's amazing offer. You can find that in our marketplace at straighttalkforthesoul.com, and all those links will be in your replay email later today. And between now and our next call, give yourself a huge, energetic, soulful hug from me. And as always, give yourself full permission to shine instead of shrink, express instead of suppress, and own that amazing, unique, powerful glow of yours. I look forward to connecting with all of you in this playground of light again next time. Bye, everybody. And bye-bye, Kaia.
Bye. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a blessed day.